Hey y'all, this is Chanel Fortney, and this is the Nerd in Texas podcast, the show about movies, books, TV shows, the occasional comedy, and anything you might consider nerdy. So if you like to literally Netflix and chill, stay tuned with me.
Hello, everybody. I am back, and in this episode, I'm going to be talking about the Queen's Gambit. But before I do, I just want to say thank you to those who are listening, and even though it seems like it's only one listener to me, even that one listener, thank you so much. It's awesome, and I also want to say that I've actually had one person reach out to me because it's exactly like what I've been wanting lately is just someone to message me, someone to talk to me about my podcast. And so what's going to happen is I'm going to do a follow-up episode of Dare Me where I talk about there's going to be spoilers, and I talk about my theories because I'm a huge theory person. And when I say at the end of the season they drop this bomb, it leaves so many questions and none of them are answered because the show was canceled. So I will give my 2 cents on what happened or how things went down and how crazy that show is. And that is my first request from a listener is to hear my theories. And I'm so excited. I'm so happy that I got a request from somebody. So right now I am live on Spreaker. I've got my chat open. So if you want to talk to me, I'd be so happy. I'd be so happy. So, one of the things I'm going to try and do is start YouTube videos of my podcast, and I upload my podcast on YouTube, so please like and subscribe if that's how you're listening to me. If that is how you're listening to this, thank you. I appreciate it. I don't know. Thanks for listening to me for 15, 20 minutes about shows that I really like. I've also had some kind of flack about starting this podcast, but right now I'm in quarantine. So you're going to be listening to a lot of me because I will be bored, and this helps with my sanity, especially when I have 2 kids at home who are doing virtual learning, and I'm doing virtual learning myself with college, and it's just crazy. So this is going to be my escape, and I appreciate for those who might have gotten louder. I'm not sure. Anyways, I appreciate those who are listening to me. I love you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And now on to The Queen's Gambit. The Queen's Gambit is a show on Netflix. According to IMDb, it's there's a 9-year-old orphan. Beth Harmon is quiet, sullen, and all appearances unremarkable. That is until she plays her first game of chess. Her senses grow sharper, her thinking clearer, and for the first time in her life, she feels herself fully in control. By the age of 16, she's competing for the U.S. Open Championship, but as Beth hones her skills on the professional circuit, the stakes get higher. Her elation grows more frightening, and the thought of escape becomes all more tempting. So this show, The Queen's Gambit, pretty much everything that was just said. It's a girl. Her name is Beth Harmon. She is played by Anna Taylor-Joy. She is in the New Mutants, Peaky Blinders. She's been in a lot of horror movies. One of them is The Witch. I haven't seen that. I want to love horror movies. I really do. There are some that I'm watching and I'm okay with. But then there are some where I'm like, nope, shut it off. Can't do it. I can't do gory. I can't do any of the Saw movies. So it's if it's nasty and gross, I'm moving on. Sorry. But there are some horror movies that I love, all the Conjuring movies. Anyways, I'm getting off track. So, Beth Harmon is actually an orphan as a child. She grows up in an orphanage. She's super smart. She finishes all of her work like all of her schoolwork because she ends up being really smart. And the teacher makes her like go down to the basement every time she finishes sooner to clean the erasers. So she goes down to the basement, sees the janitor playing chess, and is like, "You're gonna teach me." And of course he's like, "No, I'm not. You're a girl." And so she's like, "Fine, I'll just annoy you," and takes erasers and is just like smacking him, and he's finally like, "Fine, gosh." You know, typical 9-year-old driving me insane in the basement. So she ends up being extremely good at chess. And he teaches her all these great moves. And of course, one of them is called the Queens Gambit. There's a high school across the street. He gets in contact with the chess club teacher at the high school. And she just, like, blows them all away. It's like, there's a lot of things that I'm leaving out. Like, I know it seems like I'm telling you the whole thing, but I'm really not. There's a lot that I'm leaving out that you would kind of have to know to really get the full story and how to fully understand how she gets really good at chess. Because there's a lot of things that I'm not saying. It's not just that she's going down to the basement and playing chess with the creepy janitor. Except he's really not creepy. He's actually a really cool guy. But she eventually gets adopted, and the mother that adopts her ends up like becoming an alcoholic. The just stuff happens that I kind of want to leave out so I don't ruin it for you. But the Beth Harmon is like, "You know what? I'm really good at chess, and even second place winners like get money, so let's do chess tournaments." And she ends up traveling like all over the United States to play in chess tournaments. And here's this new girl that no one's ever heard of, doesn't even know, like, you have to have a timer, you have to have all these things. And everybody's just like, she'll go home after the first person she plays. And she ends up like winning. So it's even more mind-blowing for these people. The mom ends up like blowing school off. She's like, "You're gonna make me money playing chess. You don't need to go to school." Which, how crazy would that be? Like, you have athletes who grow up their whole lives learning a sport and doing all that stuff to go to the Olympics, to win all kinds of things. Some of them do go to college. You go to college. But to be someone who bases their whole life and their whole income on playing chess and not even going to school, like not high school, like she blew off high school, like that's just crazy. But there's so many other good things that happen in the show that I don't want to talk about because I don't want to do the spoilers, but you have to watch it. It's really good. Thomas Brody Sangster's in it. He plays Benny Watts. He kind of looks like Indiana Jones. I was like, what is this dude doing? Is he playing chess, or is he going to be looking for the Raiders of the Lost Ark? You know, does he have a whip that he can, like, I don't know. It's good. But he's a kid in The Maze Runner. He was in Star Wars The Force Awakens. He was the voice of somebody in Phineas and Ferb. I couldn't find it. He was also in Game of Thrones, and he was the little kid in Nanny McPhee. Except now he's all grown up and is in grown-up movies. And it's kind of awesome seeing childhood stars grow up and be in grown-up movies, but at the same time, you kind of worry about them because kid movie stars, they kind of tend to go bonkers. But that's neither here nor there. That's not what we're talking about. That is not what I'm talking about. So, the Queen's Gambit. I had to do a little research on this because, I don't know, I was intrigued. So the Queen's Gambit is not based on a true story. It really seems like it is. With the time era, which is based around 1983. Like, some of it's in the 70s, and then a lot of it later on is in the 80s, and I love that era. Like, I wish I was born and raised to be, like, in the 80s. Well, I was born in 86, so let me take that back. Well, okay. I was born in 86, but I wish that I was, like, you know, not a baby. Not a baby in the 80s. Like, my mom has an 87 Ford Mustang in the garage right now that we are working on. We're hopefully getting it up and running pretty soon. But anyways, so it's in the 80s, and so it's not based on a true story. And I found on Oprah magazine, oprahmag.com, that, which is so weird. So it's not based on a true story. It's all fictional, but it's inspired by real life events. So I was like, what does that even mean? It's not based on a true story, but it's based on real events. Okay. So I looked it up. So Beth Harmon doesn't exist, but there is a, like, real life Beth Harmon in the chess world, and her name is Vera Menchik. I'm sure it's Menchik. I hate, like, not saying people's names properly because, I don't know, I don't like saying it like that. So, that Vera Menchik is a real person, and that's where they got their inspiration for Beth Harmon. Bobby Fischer is also in where they got inspiration for the book. It's based on a book. And it's a book by Walter Tevis. So Bobby Fischer became the first to win the World Chess Championship by defeating Russia's Boris Spassky. Spassky? I don't know how to say it, and I feel so bad. But anyways, how does that happen? How does something like this happen? Like, here's Bobby Fischer, who's the real world chess champion. How are they like, man, your story's so cool, but we want your story, but we don't want you in it? Is that cool? Like, I would be like, what? I won the world chess championship for you to, like, not want me in my own story? That makes no sense. I would, I don't know. I mean, you can't really say, no, you can't make that movie about me. You can't, I'll just do it anyways, because guess what? It's not about them. So, that's all I have to say for right now about the Queen's Gambit. Like I said, I'll be making YouTube videos later. If you listen to me, like and subscribe. Follow me on the Insta and the Facebook. And I have a Twitter, but I never use Twitter. So, I'm Nerd in Texas podcast everywhere. Thank you for listening to me. I will be doing a follow-up episode about Dare Me, and Friday is the new episode of WandaVision is coming out. So I'll be watching that and keeping you posted on WandaVision and see how it's going. Some people are like, yay. Some people are like, no. I'm going to still get on here and talk about it, even if you don't want me to. So, everyone have a great night. Have a good day. Be good to people right now. It's nuts. I'm in quarantine. I'm having cabin fever. Help people out. Help me. Help you. Help people. Okay? As for right now, I'm signing off. Everyone have a good night. Until either tomorrow or in a couple of days when I release my new podcast. Goodbye.